Are you alright?
Yeah, I think I'm alright. I'm not sure actually. Fuck, I don't know actually. I need to go for a walk. Hey man, are you okay?
Are you alright?
I was spending that summer in Madrid, working every day, from morning to the evening, to save money to come here to follow her, because I was feeling that if after 3 months, not 3 months, if the summer ends and I'm not coming here, I will lose her. I grew up in a tiny village in Spain, in Madrid, For that time was really tiny. Now it's quite big. You can say that now it's a big city. But for that time was like a small village. It's called Collado Villalba. Was nice growing there because it was like a countryside. So we were spending all the time outside, you know, no rigs or anything. And well, I remember my mom just shouting at me through the window, "Kaspar!" that was the sign to go home, you know, for lunch or for dinner. And yeah, it was really nice times. And well, have good memories, but a lot of memories there. Well, in the beginning I start with the one now is my wife. For that time was my girlfriend, Marina. So I start with her when I was 19, and she decided to do something different, you know, like she want to start studying English, you know, and I told her go ahead, you know, and I will try to follow you in the future, you know. And for that time Edinburgh was, I knew Edinburgh, Scotland from the movie, you know, Braveheart, you know. Really nice. I'm from a countryside guy and I like the forest, you know, the mountains. I love it. I hate beaches. I hate beaches. So I said, it's a good idea. I was checking some pictures on, you know, and it's a nice place to go. Man, I was suffering whole summer thinking about that day. I never took a flight before. I never been in an airport before. I was countryside guy. I was going to Madrid to take the subway and I was getting lost by myself, you know, like so was quite nervous day, you know, that day that I took everything. I sell all my sports stuff because I was doing a lot of sports like snowboarding, climbing, all the stuff. I sold it just to get more money to come here. So that day, man, my parents dropped me off to the airport, and I was shaking. I didn't know where to go, you know, where to ask. I like, okay, I was a little bit lost. But yeah, you need to be brave, you know. And okay, I took the flight and arrived here. And my worry was that I'm gonna speak with people, you know, because I couldn't say any word, man. Just hello, goodbye, and my house is red, something like this, you know. So I remember I just arrived here. Marina was waiting for me in the airport, and everything new, man, you know. People talking, I don't know what they were saying, you know. We took a bus with all the luggage. I remember I was sweating a lot, you know. Like I think I lost 2 kilos in the airplane, you know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was quite scary, but excited, you know, as well. So my plan was like, okay, let's go to have a couple of months, you know, to know the city, to go around, check, you know, to see the place, you know, and let's start looking for a job. I spent like a week dropping off CVs on different restaurants and agencies, but the agencies, they just say you cannot speak, you can get out of here. So okay, fair enough. Marina's friend told us about a restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, that they were looking for a chef and a kitchen porter. Yeah, they got us, the both of us, Marina in the kitchen and me washing dishes. So I become a supervisor. They offered me, after a year and a half working there, they offered me the supervisor position. And I said yes, of course. Marina got pregnant after a year we were here. It was scary, but after we find out, so we get really surprised how this country helps people with kids, and we were really relieved, you know. So that made us to move away from the house we were living. We decided to move to here. So second 1 year and a half, yeah, almost two years since we moved. What I want, man, I want to buy a house with garden, a garage, to do a workshop there, because I like work, the woodworks, you know. I'm afraid, but we need to go ahead.
Is there anything a Spanish person coming to Edinburgh or to Scotland for the first time they should be aware of?
Yeah, man, don't go out when there is rugby. Don't go out when
Why? Why is that?
Oh man, people get mental, man. with the football, rugby, they get mental, man.
Sometimes life gets cloudy and dark. That's why we appreciate the sun even more. I'm Nathan. That's my alarm.
Hey, turn it off.
And she's Sarah, my fiancée.
Oh, sorry, on.
My life used to be happy and smooth. Very smooth.
Want some coffee?
No, thank you. The alarm was strong enough.
And whenever I had an issue, my approach has always been face it. That's me at work, surrounded by lovely colleagues and formulas. Our customer retention by 20% this very month. So I had funny friends. Project manager, can you believe it?
No, I can't. Just kidding, pal. You deserve it.
And the best fiancé in the world.
Finally,
Yeah.
a well-deserved pizza.
Yeah. What an amazing life.
The bin is full. I'm going down to throw the garbage when I finish here.
Don't worry, I'm gonna do that. Hey, how are you doing? I'm good, thank you. No. I wasn't good anymore.
Hey, I brought you a present.
And I became rude and grumpy. And one day, of course, she left me. I decided to hide from everybody. Including myself. I got depressed. Then I started drinking. From the morning until the dark. And one night I wrote Feeling Blue on YouTube. And surprisingly, I found a comedian, also disabled.
I live with cerebral palsy. I really, really want to move forward. I don't know any other comics with disabilities who have really got on national TV and said what they have to say.
Please welcome Mr. Josh Blue. Let him know, Josh Blue.
How you guys doing? All right. You know, people ask me if I get nervous before coming up on stage. I said, heck no, I got this many people staring at me all day.
I was walking downtown.
And they started laughing again.
Stopped and picked me up. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, wait a minute here, fellas, there's a misunderstanding. I'm not drunk, I have cerebral palsy. They were like, that's a pretty big word for a drunk ass.
And I realized that he was truly happy because he faced the disability. I came back. Was Sarah still in love with me though? She was. Hi. And now we are married and happier than ever. Life is a gift. Keep smiling. And whenever it gets dark, face it.
Have you ever felt like, some call it writer's block, while others describe it as going blank, having no idea to hold on to? It is at that very moment, just as you choose to go against the void when you need it the most, yet you find nothing. Of course, you keep coming up with new ideas. The human brain is still functioning. You quickly dismiss them, though, in your eager search for it. Have you ever met it, though? And then you feel it. Anytime, anywhere, it's simply there, with all the emotions it brings along. It's a hard feeling to describe, but I'm pretty sure most of you have experienced it. Mind and hand start working together, and effortlessly everything seems to flow. Like finally reuniting with an old friend, being accompanied, opening up a world of opportunities. And so you sail, you fly, and you soar through all possible dimensions. At last, the awaited moment arrived. We walk through life like robots, without even stopping to notice. They say curiosity killed the cat, when really it was the time wasted who killed curiosity. Try seeing it from a kid's perspective and you'll see. But wait, what about when it leaves? We build this strong, short-term dependency towards its presence. It might be hidden, it might be messing around, you tell yourself. But you know that's not true. You've already gone through it before. You made it to Mount Parnaso. You travelled in time and found the artist's kingdom. You found it. It made you feel at home. And back to that start again. Only harder this time. Just like the ray of sunlight that peeps out from behind the curtains, being able to feel its warmth on your skin. You know you can't reach it, that you're locked inside your own mind. Fear, self-doubt, hopelessness. A new day dawns and you get to the stage of acceptance. You know this will drive you crazy over and over again, that it is bound to happen until the end of time. Writer's block, the thwarting, the feeling of frustration, they all await you. At the end of the day, however, you'll find balance. You'll remember how valuable it actually is. How that excitement, that craziness is what really makes you feel alive, without even realising you made a pact with it the day you were born, and now you live for it. Because it brings purpose to your life.
Such a beautiful language can say concrete things, and it can say many, many beautiful abstractions that can only be said through cinema. Things that conjure a thing in a person that is only conjured from this beautiful language.
Have a new name for the coronavirus. The World Health Organization has officially called it COVID-19.
Lay and flatten the peak.
He said deaths are still rising.
You're battling with death.
Stay at home or face fines.
you must stay at home.
The whole country comes together and follows social distancing rules to try and overcome the threat of coronavirus. As the coronavirus has only added to the country's economic woes, more than 1 million confirmed cases worldwide. There's been a sharp rise in mental health issues.
To every one of us, we should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return.
Hey, Nat, it's Alex. I think I missed you again. That's like the 5th time now. I hope you're okay. I know you're a long way from home. And I know the only thing you want is to be with your family, but I promise it won't be like this for long. You will go home. Natural in an infuriating situation to feel fury. So don't feel like you're failing grabbing natural responses to unprecedented events.
We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone. All over the world, we're seeing the devastating impact of this invisible killer. You must stay at home.
No, this house is probably worth £1 million. When it was bought, it was probably 2,000. So again, you could say this house reflects the wealth, and it reflects the wealth in terms of the house next door and the one next door. That they didn't have slaves, they did.
By 4 o'clock, August the 21st, 1893, a large crowd had assembled in the old Carlton burial ground on Waterloo Place. At past, a woman dressed as the American Spirit Columbia stepped up and tugged on a cord revealing a bronze figure of Abraham Lincoln. What was the 16th President of the United States doing in Edinburgh? The monument was erected as a final resting place for Scottish American soldiers by US Consul Wallace Bruce, after a destitute widow complained her late husband, a veteran of the war, was buried in a common grave. An empathetic Wallace spun a campaign into action, reaching out to his transatlantic friends for donations to build a commemorative statue in the capital. When we consider the illustrious list of robber barons who funded the project, it is clear the monument assumed a more politicised status than merely a marker upon a grave. It was a symbol of gesture politics between the US Republicans and their British Liberal counterparts. It conveyed the notion that the American experiment brought about freedom, wealth and opportunity. The men buried here are largely forgotten. We can only now speculate and squabble over what drove them across a dangerous ocean to fight for Lincoln. Was it politics? Religious conviction? Trouble?
It was not new that there were sectors of the Scottish community that were sending in petitions, and I'm therefore not surprised that later on in 1846 that people were aware of slavery in America, and young men would have probably gone and fought. The point is that, as I said, when Frederick Douglass was here, he was this great spat with the Free Church, who he felt that if the church was supporting abolition, then it was more likely to be abolished in America.
When the news broke of Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, the working class in Scotland were torn. On one hand, you had a deeply sympathetic Christian society that was repulsed by slavery, but at the same time utterly reliant on the wealth produced and jobs it provided.
Saying, oh, it's in the past, we don't need to worry about it because we're different today.
The fact is that our attitudes are inherited from the past. Just like other aspects of our culture, our religion, they come from the past. And how are we going to dump historical attitudes and not dump the other attitudes we have? You know, so we as I said, we can't change the past, but we can change the consequences.
The truth is, Scotland was a pivotal player and in doing so benefited considerably.
The irony of that statue, it's next door to Hume's mausoleum. I don't think people don't see the irony of the statue.
Edinburgh is famous for its heritage, having a much higher density of old and listed buildings than most other British cities. One such development was Candlemaker Row, getting its name from the ancient corporation of Candlemakers Hall, founded in 1722. Candlemaker Row quickly became the centre of candle-based industry in Scotland, and the street would act as a base to produce and sell candles. The scent from the production of candles was so strong that residents of Candlemaker Row even tried to have the trade stopped. Today, Candlemaker Row is home to a variety of businesses, from a comic book store to a bookstore, a hot sauce shop, and even a tattoo parlour. But what you might not expect is that a candle-making renaissance is taking place. Brooke Mackay Brock runs a small artisan shop that specialises in the production of handcrafted candles, made in the same fashion as they would have been 250 plus years ago. I went to Blackman Botanica to speak to Brooke. So tell us a bit about the origins of the shop.
So I opened the shop last February. My intention with the shop was to bring candle making back to Candlemaker Row. That's what the street was originally built for. And there was a big fire on the Royal Mile back in the 1480s, which was kind of started in a candlemaker's workshop. So the council decided to build this street specifically for the candlemakers of Edinburgh around the late 1500s. Growing up in Edinburgh, I'm from Edinburgh, and I always thought it was a shame that Candlemaker Row didn't have any candle makers. So that had been a sort of goal of mine for a long time, was to bring candle making back to the street that it was originally built for. But Blackman Botanica itself, I had the idea for combining the candle making with other aspects of magic and witchcraft while I was studying herbology at the Royal Botanic Gardens.
So could you tell us about your personal connection to the building?
So my family are from this street. My grandpa was actually born in the house just above the shop upstairs. So for me, trying to get this specific shop was quite important. I always found the street to be really special for that reason. I always had a certain appeal, but to get this specific shop, which is directly below where they used to live, was really special in itself, so yeah. Yeah, so the candle making I first got into, my gran actually on the other side of the family, my mum's side of the family, used to make candles. So that's how I first got into the candle making. So I really feel like it's something that's kind of timeless, that candles throughout history, as long as we've been making them, it's something that's going to last. In terms of bringing it back, well, you know, there's streets all throughout Edinburgh that have the name of the street has a connection to what used to happen there, like Market Street, and, you know, Flesh Market Close, all that type of stuff. Sadly, none of which really have any of the activities going on that were originally built for. It was just really important for me to kind of bring that back. It's part of my family history, but also as part of Edinburgh's history. The incorporated trades used to meet in the kind of guild building, and that's the only one that's still standing in Edinburgh. For all the guilds, like the tailors, the butchers, they used to meet in these trade halls, and Candlemaker Row is the only one that still has that standing. So there is a tangible part of that history. And so yeah, just bringing candle making back to the street that it was built for was really important to me.
Whilst the world at large is moving forward, Brooke looked to the past, staying in touch with Edinburgh's roots and also achieving considerable success. So why not look back on your own lineage? You never know what you might find out.
Margaret Dixon was 22 when she was sentenced to die. Forsaken by society and betrayed by those around her, she was sent to face the hangman's noose. All for a child that was never meant to be.
Or are you just sitting there? My husband is nowhere to be seen.
Oh, not again. Maggie, calm down. I'm sure he'll be back soon.
It's nearly been a day. Someone has to know where he is.
Listen here, you. You've been coming out here every 10 minutes for the last 5 hours. You want to know something about your husband?
Oi! No here, no now.
I don't fucking care. Your goody two-shoes husband went and left you. And from what he told us, it seems he deserved it.
Don't you dare!
Maggie was a fisherman's wife, selling her husband's produce while he was away at sea. However, when he refused to return, she had to find other means of supporting herself. So Maggie began working for an innkeeper at the time, and developed an interest in his son.
Maggie and the innkeeper's son started having an affair, and subsequently Maggie fell pregnant. She had to hide the pregnancy or risk being on the streets.
She wanted to actually get rid of the baby, kill the baby, but she didn't manage to do that, so she left it at the side of a river. Then, when the baby was discovered, she was actually arrested and sentenced to death.
Margaret Dixon, you stand here accused of breaking the Concealment of Pregnancy Act, and all signs point to you murdering your own child. I only see one punishment fit for such a crime. You are to hang by the neck until dead.
She was hanged outside here in Grassmarket, and then was buried in a coffin. However, when taking her to bury her, they noticed some noises coming from the coffin.
Maggie awoke, defying death. And when the courts found out, they actually acquitted her, deeming it an act of God. She actually then reunited with her fisherman husband, bought her own alehouse and had her son. However, she wasn't known as Maggie anymore. She had a new name.
Maggie!
This is Maggie Dixon's, a pub in the Grass Market named after her, to tell her story. Cheers.
Camera Obscura is actually one of Edinburgh's most popular tourist attractions, with a TripAdvisor rating of 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the criticisms being a bit stupid.
Damn these views!
But let's not focus on that. Instead, we're going to go over the history of how this building came about. James Short earned his money by creating telescopes. His telescopes went all over the world to places including St. Petersburg, Paris, Harvard, and other private buyers elsewhere in America. James had a reputation of being very good at making telescopes.
Wow, I'm bloody amazing at making telescopes.
Wow, James, that's an amazing telescope.
Thanks.
He died in 1768, leaving an estate of over £2,000. Thomas Short, James's brother, was still alive, and so he went down and inherited the 12-foot telescope, and probably got a hefty chunk of that estate as well. Thomas decided to build an observatory at Calton Hill and was given some money from the city to build it. And so the city observatory was built, leading to spectacular views and brought even more money for Thomas. Then Thomas died and nothing interesting happened for about 40 years. But after those 40 years, Mary Short arrived from the West Indies. However, this caused a scandal, as nobody truly believed that she was the daughter of Thomas Short.
She comes out of nowhere claiming to be related to him. How are we supposed to believe her?
Yeah! She's got no proof of it. We can't just believe her based on nothing.
Yeah! Plus, she's a woman. We're men. We know better.
Yeah! What? Come on, man. It's the early to mid 1800s. Let's leave these stereotypes behind.
Sorry, guys. I'll be better next time. Yes! We beat sexism!
I don't think Mary Short was the daughter of Tom Short, because he dies in 1788 in his 70s, and it would be a biological miracle if Maria Short could actually be his daughter.
Despite the backlash, she got the 12-foot telescope and made her own observatory on a different part of Calton Hill in 1835. Sadly, in 1850, it was torn down by the Lord Provost. My observatory! No. Mary Short responded by buying an old tenement building and adding 2 floors to it.
Maria Short's evicted from the Calton Hill Observatory, and she looks for a suitable alternative and finds a 17th century townhouse which had belonged to the Lairds of Compiègne. So she buys it in 1851 and she then converts it into an observatory.
She died in 1868 and it was run by her husband up until 1892, when it was bought by the amazing,
he's born in Ballater,
and truly remarkable
Patrick Geddes.
Patrick Geddes actually added the camera obscura to the building, and he did this for some reason.
Well, the reason I did this...
Oh, sorry mate, we've actually ran out of time, so maybe in the sequel. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go away.
So that is the story of how Camera Obscura came about, with several deaths, a scandal, and even some big telescopes. What else could you possibly want in a documentary?
Elephants never forget, and neither will hundreds of parents who grieve their children not once, but twice. Lullaby the Elephant sits in West Princes Street Gardens. What story does she tell, and why is she important? In 2012, it was revealed that at least 250 babies' cremated remains had been disposed of in an unmarked grave at Morton Hall Crematorium. A scandal spanning 40 years, with parents being told there would be no ashes left for them to have. In 2015, a memorial garden was revealed. Although parents agree that it is a lovely space, it was built on the crematorium grounds. Ask yourself, would you return back to a place which holds such bad feelings and memories? After this, it was promised that a second memorial would be created to be put in a more public place.
Our daughter Ailsa was stillborn in 2007. We were told there would be no ashes from the crematorium at Martin Hall.
At the Elephant, it's a bit more open, a bit more vibrant.
And it's a bit more of a sort of
a
celebration of all the babies that have gone. And actually, although it is for babies and it's for the Martin Hall babies, I think it brings a lot of comfort to anybody that has lost a baby, or in fact even just a loved one that's got that sort of connection to people about the elephants. Don't forget.
And I think the design as well as an elephant is just sort of something completely different than your normal, whether it be a tree or a bush or flowers or whatever. It's basically a living creature.
I know, it's supposed to be the whole idea of it, like the trunk's curled up, like it's hugging something in the trunk, and it's because it's got all the forget-me-nots and everything on it, so it's just perfect. Somebody had put the question to Nicola Sands Lothians about getting a replica one, which wasn't something from the outset we knew would even be an option. You could have chosen that, which is the...
I think that's a pewter one rather than the bronze.
Or there's a bronze one, which is a bit more expensive, but an exact replica in order, and said it would, it would get delivered in a couple of months. That couple of months turned into about 5 months. But anyway, it's here now and it's lovely, and it's really nice to have something in the house. So you could have had a little plaque with it. It came in a lovely box of packaging. And we've not put a plaque on it because for us, we just know what it is. Our family know what it is. People that are here sit and admire it on our fireplace, and it's actually nice just to have something really tangible in the house that's connected to sales.
Well, when the first time I actually went to see her, there's loads of kids playing on it, and I got a bit upset about it, and I thought, no, it's for us to actually sort of like be there that was a memorial. And then later on I was passing, and actually there was no one beside it, and I thought, oh, she looks really lonely.
I know.
And now every time I go back, there's kids playing it. I love it.
I have heard a few people sort of trying to be like, oh, how can I find out a bit more about this sort of thing. So just anything that just raises a bit of awareness about that. This sort of taboo subject that there is around baby loss. I've seen Lullaby, and I said, yeah, actually I've got a little one. So it was really nice. This was like an 80-year-old woman who had lost her son but as an adult, and it just sort of stroked up that conversation about it. So
sad eyes show heartbreak, but to the families who suffered, this elephant gives them a place to go, a place to remember.